Welcome to Dead by Daylight Survivor Perks Explained Part 9, Bill Overbeck. We are now on to Part 9 in a series I'm doing to help new players in the Dead by Daylight community to learn new perks. If you want to see who else we've covered in this series so far, feel free to check out my dedicated playlist on YouTube. I'll be continuing to add to this playlist as I work my way through this series, so all these videos are going to be in one place. Bill, or Billiam as I like to call him, is another licensed character to Dead by Daylight. If you don't know who he is, he's originally from a game called Left 4 Dead, which is a zombie shooter game. He was originally a PC exclusive half chapter. Now, half chapter usually means it's a chapter without a map. According to Nightlight.gg, he is our least popular survivor to date, ranking all the way down at number 30 in terms of pick rate. This to me felt a little surprising to see because overall Bill does get a lot of love for being from a decently popular franchise. But his character does have some downsides, such as a lack of cosmetics and a obnoxiously log off when injured. Bill's 3 perks are Left Behind, Borrowed Time, and Unbreakable. Now chances are you've probably heard of at least 2 or 3 of these perks because at one point in time these were very meta perks in Dead by Daylight. Unbreakable barely squeaks into the meta, ranking number 14 with a 17.18% pick rate. Shockingly, Left Behind is Bill's second most popular perk, ranking at number 59 with a 1.44% pick rate. Then Borrowed Time comes in at number 78 with a 1.01% pick rate. Now this is a friendly reminder if these pick rates don't sound quite right to you. Nightlight.gg is an unofficial source for DVD player data. Players willingly opt their matches in to be part of the data pool, and it only shows the previous 28 days worth of data. Unfortunately for creators like me, behavior does not make their data public, so this is the best that I have access to. Now getting into Bill's perks. Unbreakable. Once per trial, you can recover from the dying state. Your recovery speed is also increased by 35%. Now you can probably see why this perk is meta. Slugging is a decent strat in DVD, so this allows you to counter that strat at least once per trial. And in my experience, Unbreakable can completely change the state of the game. Like, I've seen some major comebacks specifically because somebody was running Unbreakable. It's unfortunate that this is a one and done perk, but this is what keeps it balanced. Especially when you compare it with perks like No Mither or Soul Guard that allow you unlimited recovers from the dying state. Now this is probably like one of the few balanced perks DVD has. It's simple, it's straight to the point, and this is actually a really common feature of perks from this era of DVD. Now we have Left Behind. Once you are the last survivor standing, Left Behind activates. The ore of the hatch is revealed to you within 32 meters. Personally, I really like this perk, but I also understand why not a lot of people run it. Endgame builds aren't popular in DVD whether or not you're a survivor or a killer. And because this activates when you're the last survivor left, it's usually read as a very selfish perk, so it gets a bad reputation because of that. Personally, if I run this perk, it's when I'm trying to do a hatch challenge in the rift. If you run this and bring a key, you can usually wait out the killer to close the hatch and then open it to escape that way. But the big if of this perk is that you have to make it all the way to the end game by yourself to get value out of this perk, and that's pretty much what keeps it balanced. So it's highly situational, but I do think it's great for specific challenges in DVD. And then finally we have Borrowed Time. Survivors you unhook benefit from the following effects. Their endurance and haste is extended by 10 seconds. This perk has gone through some changes. Before the endurance status was officially a thing, this basically gave you and the survivor you unhooked endurance for 40 seconds. Back then it was called a bleed out timer, and then I don't remember if you could heal yourself back then during the bleed out timer. And at one point in time, this was considered one of the anti-tunneling perks, but unfortunately tunneling is one of those placeholes. There's not really a way to deter it. You know, if a player wants to continue targeting the same player over and over and ignore everybody else, there's not really a way to stop them without essentially ending the game, which is why this perk probably dropped from being a fairly meta perk to a 1% pick rate. This perk is just in a weird spot in the state of the game, because if you're good at looping and extending chase, you almost don't need this perk. Like, by the time the killer would get up to you, you'd probably run out the timer, and then it's kind of like a maybe not situation. And then if you're not good at chase, it's kind of the inverse. You're probably getting hit before that first 10 seconds of endurance expires, making the additional 10 seconds useless, but then there's always a chance you've got a killer trying to wait out those first 10 seconds, and then that's where you would get your value. It's a gamble on a perk slot that clearly not many survivors are taking their chances on. But these are Bill's 3 perks. I think these are some of the rare perks that have held up against the test of time, even if the pick rates don't reflect that. Each has the ability to get fairly decent value in the current meta of DVD, which is difficult to do. But which one of these is your favorite? Is there a specific survivor you want to see covered next in the series? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe so I can bring you more Dead by Daylight content.